Welcome to the Life in Launches podcast. This is episode number 3, Burn Your Backup Plan and Build Your Dream Business. Are you ready for inspiration and insights that spark your imagination and explode your entrepreneurial dreams into a highly successful business and a purpose-filled life? Then you should join the movement. The new generation of founders, entrepreneurs, and CEOs who've burned the bridges of the status quo and are passionately pursuing their destiny. But instead of blind ambition that results in mediocrity, we use strategic, direct response, and digital marketing strategies that work like alchemy to attract more leads, more sales, more profits.
And while so many small business owners and self-employed professionals get stuck in the 24/7 grind, we apply smart business automation that frees us up to work on our business and not just in it. Finally, while too many spend their days fighting an endless tirade of fires and living under stress, anxiety, exhaustion, and frustration, we build integrated life plans and fill our daily schedule with significance and deeply held values. We use our financial prosperity and strategies for wise living to enjoy what everyone wants but few achieve, life autonomy.
Welcome to the Life in Launches podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Obi.
And I'm your host, Crystal Obi. You're going to love what we have to share in today's episode. Let's get started.
We want to welcome you to the Life in Launches podcast. I am your host, Anthony Obi.
And I am your host, Crystal Obi.
Hey, it's official. American employees have now become a nation of quitters. 4.4 million people left their jobs in September of 2021, making national news. And it's just been reported that Texas is now the national leader in job quitters. 440,000 people quit their jobs in Texas in October of 2021, making our home state, the great state of Texas, the nation's leader of quitters.
This is really interesting because the statistics keep going. People keep quitting. And the question has been, why are people quitting? Why are they able to quit? And what are they doing once they quit? And that's what we want to speak a little bit into. We are understanding maybe a little bit of the background from that because we understand our own journey and the journey of people that we've worked with. And so we understand that there's been a lot of pain associated with people, and this pandemic has given people some time to step back and really think about the pain they've gone through from just different aspects, whether it's from their employer or from their lifestyle or just from decisions they've made that got them to the point where they are. And so what we do know is that there's different reasons that people have quit, and there's a lot of different angles for that. But the one thing that is the same for everyone that has been impacted by this pandemic here in America is that we have more thinking time. We've had time to sit back and really consider, what are we doing? And when we emerge from this pandemic, what do we want to be doing then? And so that's one reason why we are so passionate about helping people, because we love making those kind of decisions. And we've had to make a lot of those decisions when they were not popular and when they were not forced on us, but we did it because we wanted to, because we sat down and did that introspection and really thought about where we wanted to be.
Yeah. You know, people have been misused and used up by employers for far too long. Low pay, long hours, long commute times, poor benefits, and corporate disloyalty has caused people to fall behind inflation, which has risen faster than wages.
Now, I think it's really important to understand that we're not talking about, the lowest, rungs of the economy. We're talking about high income earners. We're talking about business people. When we talk about low pay, we're talking about people not getting paid what they're worth.
Right.
People who have got college educations, who have, received trainings, certificates, and, have put in the work.
Bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, whatever.
And whatever that is. And so especially this generation of millennials who were told certain things whenever they were coming out of high school and going into college, and just how the economy has panned out has not been what they expected. And so we're not talking about, low pay as in like low pay, I can't make it.
Right.
We're talking about you should be making X and you're getting Y because you're not being appreciated. It's more about appreciation and value and not about the actual dollar amount.
Yeah, I mean, think about our life. Like we're considered old. We'd be considered older millennials right at the age of 40 years old, and we live in an affluent area. We live in North Texas. We live in the North Texas area, the Collin County area. This is a affluent area. There's, everybody makes a high either, close to six-figure income or just over a six-figure income in this area as a household. And so most of our friends have college degrees, bachelor degrees, master's degrees, some multiple master's degrees. And so, but still in all, people are still caught, even with the degrees, even with higher paying jobs, still caught in the rat race of trying to balance family life and their home life, their own personal lives with the work that they have to do. And when you look at it, and just calculate how much time people spend on the job and getting to the job, coming home from the job, winding up and unwinding from the job, it adds up to be about 12 hours a day when you think about it.
Yeah, and it's like life is not supposed to have turned out like this.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go to college and get the job and, do all the things and move to the right places. And it was supposed to be better. And so what we're seeing is people realizing, hey, this rat race, this situation, the opportunities that they took were not actually an opportunity to get to the life that they wanted. And we're not even talking about just dream life level. It's like people are living in exhaustion and frustration, not feeling appreciated, and then not having direction. Mm-hmm. One reason why we want to do this show is because we want to be able to provide people direction, as we've done with friends, just, in one-offs or with clients.
Yeah.
But here, we can help people have direction and how to actually make those decisions, how to decide where to be or what to do, and, how to navigate these waters.
Yeah. Yeah. Finally, large numbers of people, Crystal, are responding, as we're seeing in the headlines, in the national headlines, that millions of people are quitting, trying to finally take this pandemic opportunity as a chance to pivot to a better position, to a better career choice. But the problem that I think that people will face is that while there are new opportunities to build what you really want, if you don't do if you don't really take a deep dive into yourself, into your skill sets, into your strengths, into your personality type, into your values, into your expertise, and then look at the marketplace with fresh eyes and an open mind, you're going to find yourself just jumping from one job to the next job, from one bad situation to the next bad situation.
Basically, like from the fryer to the fire.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's exactly what people are going to do if they don't step back, settle down, and really do some deep dives into their own selves, into their skill set, and look at the overall marketplace with fresh eyes. And this is the work that we have done. This is the work that we've been doing. Like, we started off 20 years ago when we were still in high school, college, thinking about who it is that we wanted to be, thinking about things from a heart-centered place as well as with our mind, not just looking at what job we wanted to get and then letting that dictate the lifestyle that we would have, but looking at the lifestyle that we wanted to have, and then choosing career path that would align with that. Yeah, and that's a completely different way of thinking about life.
Yeah, because I think whenever people right now are considering their opportunities, one of the problems is that they don't know really how to consider them. And so whenever they took the step to quit their job, they were thinking, okay, well, here's an opportunity I may have or may not have, but they were courageous enough to quit, because people are not quitting and just staying out of the market. They're quitting and going to different jobs. Right. And so people need to understand if they're in a season of maybe they're trying different things, or if they're actually stepping over into the next thing that they're really going to be working in, the next area they're actually going to be in. And so it can feel very, confusing if they step out of their job, they have the courage to do it, and then they get into something new and they don't really know what they're doing. And so they don't realize if they should be confident or not about taking that step. And in reality, if they were dissatisfied enough to take that step and quit, that was probably the right decision. It's just that now the job is beyond being courageous enough to quit the job. Now it's the job is to be courageous enough to build what their next thing is, build their dream.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole different job, putting together where you want to be in the future.
Mm-hmm. I think that there's been so many new opportunities to build your business or your self-employed professional career using digital media. And I mean, the last 10, 15 years, digital media has really created a whole new playing field. It's created the global economy that we heard about years ago, where you can market and advertise your services. If you have high ticket services that you offer, low ticket services that you offer, professional services, or products that you want to sell, the last 15 years has really just changed the landscape and created, swung open huge new doors of opportunity for people to take advantage of. And I think it took something like this pandemic to really just shake things up, and for one, get people more used to doing business online. You think about it, before the pandemic, people weren't as accustomed to doing business through Zoom the way that they were post or the way they have been in the last 18 months during this pandemic.
I think that's been a huge benefit, because for people like us who are already, working online, it's been a lot more comfortable and it's more acceptable now.
Right. So
when people before, you may be comfortable working online, people had certain expectations that now, since everyone is in the same boat, there's a lot more resources, a lot more help, a lot more flexibility. And so instead of having to be going against the grain, now you're just one of, many people. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a different environment. And so building a business online or creating a career online right now, it's one of the best times to do it, because it's accepted. There's way more services available, and there's really great opportunities. Whenever there was maybe 15 years ago, there were not as many available opportunities. I remember when it was hard to find talented people who were also willing to work through the internet, and just even transferring funds and things like that became issues. Now you're using a phone and you can send money to anybody anywhere. And so just the ease of being able to work online and the acceptability of it, and just the commonality of it.
You're so right, Crystal. I can remember back in like 2004, 2005, a friend cautioning us on using PayPal, for instance. And now, I mean, everybody transfers money using PayPal or Zelle. Everybody does this, and it's very common. Back then, it wasn't. And so that just kind of speaks to how accessible everything is now, and just how globalized doing business has become with the internet and access to iPhones, smartphones, and that type of thing. And so it's very easy to start a side business from your smartphone these days. You don't even necessarily need a computer, but it's just a very digital world. And so it just makes the opportunities that much easier to take advantage of that have arisen because of we're in the digital age now.
I think it's important to understand how courageous you have to be whenever you're making decisions and it's not popular yet, just like it was back there with our friend. And the question is, are you ready to make the amount of money you deserve and do what you're passionate about and finally work on your terms? And if that answer is yes, then you have to be willing to go against the grain. You have to be willing to take a leap of faith. You have to be willing to take some risk. And that is the big question that you have to answer. And that question may be answered in different layers. You may be at a position where you're willing to leave where you're at right now. And then you have to, muster up the extra courage to take the next steps to where you want to go. And you have to understand that it is a series of steps. It's never just one big step. It's always a series of steps. It's a series of decisions. It's a series of relationships. It's a series of opportunities that are taken and risks that are taken and losses and gains. And it's a life. And so that is just a big thing that people need to understand.
I like what you just said there, Crystal. You just asked our listener a really good question. Are you ready to make the amount of money that you deserve, doing what you're passionate about, and finally working on your terms? I mean, that's a big deal. Every element of that question is something that you need to consider for yourself if you truly want to build your dream business.
Yeah, the big challenge is that first you have to identify what you can get paid to do that excites you and gives you the lifestyle that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we have a lot of authority in this, that of people that we know of. We have some of the most authority in this to pose this question and address this issue, because we have been far ahead of the curve in building our true lifestyle business. We've never just gone after opportunities purely just looking at the opportunity as itself or just the financial gain from it. We've looked and considered opportunities that were strategically beneficial financially, yes, but also lifestyle-wise, ones that did not violate values that were important to us.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand that where you want to end up is a big factor when you consider the opportunities that you're going to take today. And we had the benefit of, from day one, when we started our friendship back in college, when we met, we were actively talking about our values, actually talking about where we wanted to be and who we wanted to be. And even we didn't even know we were going to be together. We were just talking. And then we kept talking and was like, well, hey, we're going to the same place. Let's do this together.
Yeah. And then as our relationship progressed, I mean, we went from being like instant, really good friends to becoming best friends, and then it gets into, well, let's be together. And when we got married a couple years later, we knew we wanted to work at home and be together. Like, being together really charges both of us, and on a friendship level, and then on a business and goals level, like, we can cross pollinate, we can cross our conversation out. We could switch it up from this to that in our conversation. So we just had this multifaceted relationship that's not one dimensional. And so that's why we like being together and spending so much time together. And so we knew we wanted to be together. And so that was a big value for us. And so we wanted to build a business that let us actually be together. And early on in our business career, we did things that kind of, it was like, well, we're working from home, but we're not working at home.
That was a big revelation that we had to have, because working from home means you may not actually be seeing each other, because one of you could be out and one of you could be at home in the office, and so you don't get to be together. So the big value was what actually keeps us together at the same dinner table at the same time. Yeah. And so those are big things that people have to consider when they're considering their values, is what does the value even mean? Being together, what does that actually look like? What does it look like when you have kids? And, how much involvement do you want with their schooling? Well, we knew we wanted to homeschool even before we had kids, because we knew it would support the lifestyle that we wanted. And so the values that we had. Yeah. And so being able to travel and take the kids, and being able to, control our own sleep schedule, especially with us being, two different types of sleepers. And so all these different things that create stress for people, we were able to navigate simply by knowing and being more confident in our values. Yeah. And so when people have to understand what they want to do next, they have to really take some time and step back and think about, what do they want and what does it actually look like? Yeah. Because they can't just walk into another opportunity, because like you mentioned earlier, they may just end up with a different job. Maybe it pays more money, or maybe they don't have a commute because they are working remotely. But if their personal value is they like being out with coworkers, and now they don't feel as social, then that could cause trouble at home in their family, because they're not getting enough social interaction. So it's all these different factors of how you want to live your life, what you want your life to look like, and what kind of work you want to do and how you want to engage in that work. Because even in the information, publishing business, you can be a person who completely delivers everything online, or you can have a completely different lifestyle of being a person who does in-person events.
Yeah, or traveling all over the country, like some folks in our industry, traveling all over the country, delivering live in-person seminars. Of course, we're talking, pre-pandemic and where things are going to be going back to for those types of people.
And some of those people, even though it's a pandemic now, they're really looking forward to going back because they like the social. They like to be able to be out there. And so that's one thing, we've always had to consider was, hey, yeah, we like being with people, but then whenever you run it against if we're homeschooling, or how does that, is it all of us going? Is it just you and me going, or, individually? It's a lot of decisions that come down to what type of business you want to build, how you operate that business, even when it gets to employees and vendors and things like that. How local do you want to be? How comfortable are you working globally?
Yeah.
And so we were very comfortable from day one working globally, which helped us because it supported our values.
Yeah, that's right. I think one of the big reasons why so many millions of people are trying to transition, because in corporate America, they realize that, man, the more that they advance and the raises that they get, it actually, they get a bump in pay, but more of their free time is actually sucked up.
Yeah.
To make the get the six-figure job or six-figure promotion.
That comes with travel.
And
travel comes with being away from your spouse and being away from your kids, and
that's right.
Not being able to be at the events and be there for your friends.
And it's kind of like an unspoken thing that a company who's paying you, a higher amount of income plus good benefits, you just sort of inherently become willing to do whatever it takes to keep that income coming in, and before you know it, you and your spouse are just two ships sailing in the night. You're not able to see them, and before you know it, your kids are growing up, and you're not able to. You haven't been able to be there, and I
think it's important to note that people who are successful start off, with the goal of being successful, but they just don't realize how much control they're going to have to give up in order to have that success.
That's right.
And so you continue becoming successful and more successful, and then you realize you don't control your life. Your employer controls it. The school system controls your kid's life. And so right now people are trying to get more control back because there's not as much loyalty with companies anymore. That it used to be you could give a lot of control away to the company, but you knew you were going to get taken care of. You could just work here 30, 40 years and you're going to be good, and your kids will be good, and everybody's fine. But now you don't have that benefit. And so it's like the control is a benefit, but it's also just a reality now. You have to be in control. You have to know what's going on because there's really not a lot of support, and you have to make those decisions for yourself.
Yeah. And that's why our sort of slogan, whenever we thought about like Life in Launches, what we wanted the slogan to be, it boiled down to really three really big values for us and three big benefits that we sort of offer with our coaching clients and that type of thing. And that is, marketing alchemy, business automation, and life autonomy. I mean, that's us. That's us to a T. We've done we've learned marketing alchemy, and we've learned business automation so that we can get 100% life autonomy, and that's what we have today. That's why we're able to be together, completely control our own schedule, and invest heavily into parenting and raising our kids and homeschooling our kids, because that supports the value system that we have.
Now, I'm so excited because we're going to be talking more in detail about those things coming up.
That's right. Yeah, and we're at that point. We want you guys to. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode, and we want you to tune in to the next episode where we're going to share a framework that we've pioneered to help us figure out our most desired lifestyle and the income we needed to support that lifestyle. This simple and profound method makes launching your dream lifestyle business finally possible. It's called the LIC method. That's capital L, capital I, capital C. That stands for lifestyle, income, and competency. Simple. So tune in to the next episode to learn all about it and how it can help you step into your dream business. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Life in Launches podcast. If you like the show, join our mission of inspiring a new generation of entrepreneurs. You can help us by leaving a 5-star review, sharing what you like about the podcast, and then tell friends and family about this show. Be well, and we'll see you in the next episode.